I don't think that I've ever really told my story in terms of all the moments in my life that led up to who I am today and why I've made the commitments that I've made. So I am going to do a few videos, and it will be probably a few, I don't know how long it'll end up being. And I'm going to, as best as I am able to, share the significant moments in my life that led up to who I am today and where I am today. So let's start at the beginning. My dad, Bernard, always used to tell people that he trained me from when I was in the womb. He would speak with me and teach me how to see things, and he gave me access to being able to communicate more beyond what we usually are capable of. And I never really understood what that meant until much later on in life. What I realized was different about how I was brought up compared to how other kids were brought up was how I was always pushed to see, why do people do the things that they do? So what are the factors that motivate behavior? How are relationship dynamics playing out? How are relationships and people in relationships coming together? What are the things that are making their relationships difficult? What's causing conflict? Why is it causing conflict? So there are all these different dimensions that Bernard would always push me to look at from a very young age, and that was part of his so-called training. But the other part was how I would communicate with guides and with the fairies and with animals and nature and anything really, not in terms of speaking and having verbal conversation with my voice type of communication. It was, let's call it, a more spiritual type of communication. So that's another thing that he brought out in me and taught me how to use, but also pushed me to use it, because when you're a kid, things like that just don't seem like it's like important, or you want to go and play, and you want to ride your bike and go play catches with your friends and things like that. So he pushed me to actually use these skills. And in that period of my life, he didn't really have, let's call it, a purpose or a particular direction that he was taking all of this in terms of being able to communicate with the other side, and looking at human behavior and understanding human behavior and understanding the mind. He didn't really at that point have anywhere he was going with it. It was just he was asking questions, and so he would push the boundaries of what was accepted as normal and how things worked, and he was exploring all the different parts of life that other people didn't really ask too many questions about. So he was a very curious guy, and he asked a lot of questions. And sometimes people didn't like those questions. But in any case, I was there with him while he was asking those questions, and I was picking up on what he was doing, and I was learning about the mind and things like that with him. Obviously, for me, it wasn't like a self-directed learning. It was more like I was there and I was taking in the information that was happening all around me, because I was young. So it's again, to me, it just didn't seem all that important. It didn't seem to be anything unusual or different. It was just, okay, this is my dad, and this is how he is, and this is what he likes to talk about. And other people seem to have very deep discussions with him, but whatever. That's how people are, isn't it? Right? Obviously, later on, I learned that no, people are not like that, and no, people do not have deep, intimate discussions with complete strangers, where they bare their soul and see parts of themselves that they had never been willing to face before. And that's what he brought out in people. Of going to places in yourself that you didn't even know were there. And that was my normal.